Have you ever wondered what makes the world's biggest companies actually run? Behind the scenes? Well, there's this hidden giant called ServiceNow that's basically the digital plumbing for a huge part of the corporate world. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and figure out what they really do and why they are suddenly at the very center of the AI revolution.
Right on their homepage, ServiceNow makes this really bold claim. They call themselves the AI control tower for business reinvention. That's a pretty big statement, right? It sounds impressive, but what does it actually mean? Let's be real. It's a little bit of marketing jargon.
Exactly. What is hiding behind that fancy phrase? Well, over the next few minutes, we're going to break it all down. We'll trace ServiceNow's journey from a really simple idea to the AI powerhouse it is today, and you'll see exactly why it's become so essential for pretty much any modern business.
So to really get what ServiceNow is doing with AI now, we've got to go back to the beginning. And the beginning had nothing to do with AI or these grand, world-changing platforms. Nope. It was all about solving a very common and honestly a very messy problem inside every big company.
I want you to picture a typical IT department, say back in the early 2000s. Your work laptop breaks. So what do? You send an email, maybe you call somebody, but who's tracking it? Where does that request even go? It was just this black hole of random tickets, tons of manual work, and getting anything fixed took forever. In one word, it was chaos.
So, in 2003, this guy, founder Fred Luddy, decides to create a company to fix this exact problem. And you can see their journey right here. It was a pretty steady climb, leading to a big IPO in 2012. Then, things get really interesting. In 2019, they bring in a new CEO from the software giant SAP, which signaled a whole new level of ambition. And that ambition really peaked in 2023 with this huge partnership with NVIDIA. That was them officially planting their flag as a serious enterprise AI company.
So their original mission was all built around this idea, IT Service Management, or ITSM. And the concept was simple, but kind of revolutionary for the time. Let's create one single platform in the cloud that can take that mess of emails and phone calls and turn it into a structured, automated workflow that everybody can see and track. But here's the thing. Fixing the IT help desk was just the beginning. The company had this huge aha moment. They realized that the same chaos and the same lack of communication they just solved in the IT department, well, it was happening in every other department too. The real problem, the bigger problem, was that most companies operate in silos. The IT department doesn't really talk to human resources. HR doesn't talk to the legal team. Legal doesn't talk to finance. Each one has its own tools, its own way of doing things, its own language even. And the consequences of that are massive. Just think about hiring a new employee. HR has to do their thing. IT needs to get them a laptop. Finance needs to set up payroll. When they all operate in their own little worlds, the result is just wasted time, a ton of frustration, and honestly, a terrible first experience for that new person. And this is what led to ServiceNow's much, much bigger vision. They thought, forget just IT. What if we could expand and build a single platform, a kind of digital central nervous system that connects every single department and automates work across the entire company? And this chart, this shows that they actually did it. I mean, look at this. IT workflows, their original business, are still the biggest piece of the pie at 40%. But that means the majority of their business now comes from everything else, connecting HR, managing customer service, handling security, and even giving people tools to build their own apps. Okay, so this brings us to today, and it brings us right back to that AI control tower claim we started with, because connecting all those different parts of the business, that was the essential groundwork. Now they're adding this incredibly powerful layer of AI right on top of that entire foundation. So what is this AI control tower? Think of it like air traffic control, but for a company's AI. Right now, most big companies are playing around with lots of different AI tools, some from Google, some from OpenAI, you name it. The control tower gives them one single place to manage all of them, to make sure they're secure, they're compliant, and they're actually helping the business. And then you have these things called AI agents. The key word here, and you really have to get this, is action. These are not just chatbots that answer your questions. No, these are autonomous tools that are designed to actually complete tasks for you, like resolving a customer's problem or processing an HR request, all without a human ever touching it. And this might be the most important thing to understand about their whole AI strategy. You know how some AI is trained on, the entire public internet?
Well, ServiceNow's AI is different. It's grounded in a company's own data, its own processes, its own rules. It's designed to understand your business, not the whole web. And that context is what allows it to go from just giving answers to actually driving real business results. Okay, so all of this sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in the real world? Does it work? Well, let's look at the numbers. First off, the scale here is just massive. We're talking annual revenues over $13 billion. That puts ServiceNow in the big leagues on both the S&P 500 and the Fortune 500. This is not some small startup. This is a pillar of the entire software world. But what does that mean for their customers? The results are seriously impressive. Imagine trying to solve a complicated customer issue. With ServiceNow's automation, some companies are now doing it 7 times faster than they used to. And that efficiency, it has a huge ripple effect. For some of their clients, automation now handles 3 million customer support interactions a year. That's 3 million problems solved without ever needing to talk to a human. Okay, this one is just staggering. It really shows you the kind of scale this platform can handle. One of their customers onboarded 48,000 new employees in a single day. Just try to imagine the logistics of doing that manually. It's basically impossible without this kind of automated platform. And it's not just the customers who are impressed either. When the top industry analyst firms, the really tough critics like Gartner and Forrester, consistently name you a leader in category after category, well, you're obviously doing something right. That kind of outside validation speaks volumes. So it all leads us to this final, really fascinating question. ServiceNow started out just fixing the digital plumbing in the IT department. Then it grew to connect the entire business. And now it's aiming to be the AI-powered brain that sits on top of all of it. So if you think of a business like a living body, could a single platform really become its central nervous system? It's a pretty powerful idea, and it's one that might just define the future of how we all work. Thanks for tuning in.